By the end of this module, you will be able to define and differentiate between assessment, evaluation, testing, and measurement. Describe the historical evolution of educational evaluation. Identify the purposes and importance of assessment. Categorize different forms and approaches of assessment. Explain the role of teachers in assessment and its global significance. This foundational module sets the academic and conceptual tone for the entire course. It introduces you to the core definitions, theoretical underpinnings, interrelationships, and practical significance of assessment, evaluation, testing, and measurement in the educational process. It addresses why we assess, what we evaluate, and how these processes influence educational quality, teaching methodology, learner performance, and policy decisions. Definition of key terms assessment: a continuous process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting data on individual performance, skills, behaviors, and knowledge to make informed instructional decisions. Assessment helps monitor progress and guides learning. Evaluation: a broader judgmental process that involves determining the value, merit, or worth of a program, curriculum, teaching method, or policy. Evaluation typically leads to decision-making or policy formulation. Testing: a more formalized and structured tool within assessment, often involving a set of questions designed to measure specific knowledge or skills. It is typically scored to compare against benchmarks. Measurement: the quantification of attributes or behaviors. For example, scoring a student 85% on a mathematics test is measurement. It gives a numerical representation of an individual's performance. Interrelation: testing is a part of assessment. Measurement is the tool used in both testing and evaluation. Assessment is the process, and evaluation is the judgment based on the process. Historical background and evolution. The concept of formalized testing began in ancient China with civil service exams. The industrial age brought in standardized testing, with educational pioneers like Horace Mann advocating for uniform exams. 20th century psychologists such as Binet and Terman advanced the use of IQ tests, which influenced educational measurement. The modern era has shifted toward constructivist assessment, focusing on student-centered methods and authentic performance-based tasks. The use of technology, big data, and AI is reshaping assessment into a more adaptive, continuous, and analytical process. Importance and purpose of assessment and evaluation in education. Instructional decision-making guides lesson planning, resource allocation, and instructional methods. Diagnosis and remediation identifies learning gaps and provides targeted support. Motivation and engagement encourages learners through feedback and recognition of progress. Accountability assures stakeholders, parents, government, administrators of educational quality. Curriculum improvement drives innovation and refinement in educational content. Policy and reform influences national education strategies and global competitiveness. Certification and promotion determines readiness for advancement and graduation. Dimensions of educational assessment: cognitive domain, knowledge and intellectual skills, e.g., comprehension, reasoning. Affective domain: attitudes, interests, values, motivation. Psychomotor domain: physical skills, motor abilities, coordination. Each domain requires unique approaches for valid assessment. Classifications of assessment: based on timing, formative assessment, ongoing and diagnostic, summative assessment, final judgment after instruction. e.g., end-of-term exams, based on reference framework. Criterion, referenced against learning objectives. Norm, referenced against peer performance, e.g., percentiles, based on mode, objective, multiple choice, true, false, subjective. Essays, oral responses. Performance-based, projects, portfolios, simulations. Assessment versus evaluation. Key differences we have: feature assessment and evaluation. 1. Purpose, improvement, judgment. 2. Nature, ongoing, formative, periodic, summative. 3. Scope, micro, learner level, macro, program or institutional level. 4. Instrumentation, tools like tests, checklists, reports, surveys, audits. 5. Focus, learner-centered, system, teacher, or policy-centered. Challenges in assessment and evaluation. 1. Cultural bias in testing. 2. Over-reliance on standardized tests. 3. Teacher competency in designing assessments. 4. Ethical concerns in grading. 5th. Misalignment between objectives and tools. 6. Technology integration limitations in under-resourced regions. The role of teachers in assessment. Teachers are not just knowledge givers, but assessment designers, interpreters, and users. Their ability to align learning objectives with assessments, provide constructive feedback, track learner progress, adjust instruction based on results, plays a crucial role in student achievement and curriculum effectiveness. Global perspective and international benchmarks. International assessments like DOT, Program for International Student Assessment, PISA. Trends in International Mathematics and Science Study, TIMSS. These shape global education goals and provide a comparative evaluation of national education systems. Future of assessment and evaluation. Artificial intelligence, AI, in adaptive learning. Gamified learning assessments to increase engagement. Real-time analytics from learning management systems. Remote proctoring and online certifications. Competency-based and personalized learning models replacing traditional grading systems.